I'm here with Selena Pepić, who has quickly become one of my favorite people to see at a tournament. And I am delighted to have the winner of the most recent women's pairs at the New Orleans NABC. Selena, thanks for from Paris, here from Paris, originally from Serbia. Thanks for joining me, Selena.
Thanks for having me, John.
I want to start out with a little story, a quick story about you. So originally, this interview is taking place at 10 a.m. Eastern time. This interview is taking place on Saturday, April 15th. And originally, we had scheduled our conversation to take place yesterday. And as it happened, I got invited to play a match against Michael Rosenberg and Max Scherson with my partner for the upcoming U.S. trials at the same time that we scheduled the match. And so I was kind of like, shoot, let me text you. And I said, I really hate to ask you this and think you'll understand. And I explained the situation, and your response was, John, please, I am offended you have to ask me to understand. Aren't we friends at all? It's Michael Rosenberg. You can't miss that. Even if it's our last chance to ever speak. So you are a dyed-in-the-wool bridge lover like me. You said Michael's one of your favorite players. Tell me about yourself. Like tell me about your journey with bridge.
Yeah.
Or whatever you want to take from what I just said.
Well, from that side, yeah, Michael Rosenberg is indeed one. Like I was a super fun girl before. That's the only book I read. His book is literally the only book I read. And then like he's also a lot on Bridge Winners. So he was always replying and commenting on junior posts and everything. So I was like, if Michael Rosenberg says that, that's how it should be played. Like period. There is like no. And then I completely disagreed on one board, and then after that I had to like have multiple favorite bridge players. But yeah, before that I was like, it's Michael Rosenberg, and then 10, 20 places, and then that person.
How did you come to read Michael's book in the first place? Like, how did he become that authority to you?
I think I played like a tournament in Budapest in European national championship, and there was like a stand with books, and I would just glance into multiple books, and like I love bridge, but like I just can't have like dry book with bridge problem after bridge problem after bridge problem. And then this book had a story, and it had a story about Zia. So like, what kind of story do you want if you want actually some more philosophical aspect of bridge? And I really enjoy like philosophical approach, and that's like I think as philosophical as it gets. So I just immediately bought it. And yeah.
When do you think that was?
That was 2016. I didn't read it 2016, but I bought it that year. Yeah, that was my first.
That's it.
That was my first national tournament representing Serbia.
Where you sent me an email. Like I asked you some questions, some pre-questions. In your first year of playing bridge, you won an event at the Junior World Championships. Is that right?
Yes. So I won. That was the junior thing. So 2016 was my first like non-junior event when I started playing for the women's team of Serbia. So that's what I meant by like the first tournament actually representing. I was there, and like all the best players were there. Not playing women's event, but it was still like, you know, for me it was something really big. And when I played in Opatia, which was the tournament I played before, it's like I didn't know anyone. Like I was just there taking cards and playing them, and like Zia could have been in front of me, I wouldn't recognize him. I wouldn't be able to do so. So for me, this was like a big thing, because it was like I'm actually representing my country, and these guys are geniuses, and they claim in trick three. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm so smart, I can't claim in trick three. It was like shocking.
What was the event actually then? Like, what you said it was a national, like you on the national
European,
team?
European National Championship, like qualifiers for Bermuda Bowl Tennis Cup. So I played for women's team of Serbia with Jovana.
In your second, you've been playing bridge for all of 2 years at this point?
Yes, I've been playing bridge for 2 years at that point.
And you're playing on your country's women's team?
I'm not from US. That's like hidden there. So like playing for Serbians women's team wasn't really like biggest thing. We played. Johan and I played the first tournament after a year I played bridge, and we played the ladies pairs championship of Serbia. She called me and I said yes, and then we went there, and I was like we were gonna be bottom last, but whatever. And then we just won the tournament, and I was like, wow, okay, that was interesting. But yeah, then that was like when we decided we might actually start playing together, and
this is the woman that you play with in the United States, Giovanna.
Yes, 8 years later.
You call her Yo. You call her Yo for short. Yo for short.
I call her Giovanna. Yeah.
But you were saying you were referring to her by another name.
I call her Yole sometimes. I call her all the names, to be honest. But like it's similar name to your teammate from BAM event. So Jovanka, it's just like extra K. But you read it the same way. Yeah.
Got it. That's helpful.
Because she is actually originally Serbian as well, so it's basically same name.
Yeah, I know. And in the process of like doing research on you, I came to realize I have a friend here who has a Serbian woman who lives in her on her property, and I didn't realize that there was war in Serbia when you were a child.
Yeah, it's actually funnily enough my first memory ever. It's like sirens before the bombing. It's like kind of probably gets stuck. I probably didn't know what's going on, but like all the panic is kind of probably was like I don't know influencing me remembering that thing. But yeah, it was not ideal back then, and I mean it's very scary thinking that it was just like all the wars on Balkan are like 20 to 30 years ago, which is so scary thinking about that. Like that my parents already went through a couple of wars there, and it's just like crazy to think about that. I mean, some of that is, I think, coming to an end. Jovana is playing today tournament in Zagreb, in Croatia, alongside with like 10, 20, 30 other Serbians, and we have amazing relationship with them. They're coming in 3 weeks playing tournament in Serbia. I mean, they're definitely my favorite people. If I choose to go to any tournament, like a bridge festival, I would always choose Croatia. So on that note, things are getting better. Some other notes, things are not getting better. Politics is not getting better. Politicians are not getting better. But yeah,
we have that here too. It's actually worse.
Yes. Somehow.
So the war was actually with Croatia. Was that who you guys were fighting?
So there was like a war beginning of 90s. And it was mostly in Bosnia, and partially in Croatia as well. I don't think there was war where I live in Serbia, because my family, so my father's side of family, they lived in Bosnia. So when the war started, they moved to Serbia. And they moved because of war. But it was like the whole Balkan kind of thing, but mostly concentrated in Bosnia, and then some of it in Croatia. And then late 90s, there was bombing of Serbia because of problems in Kosovo, basically. But that had nothing to do with, almost nothing to do with Bosnia or Croatia. But yeah, it was, I'm not sure. So there was like this prime minister, president. I'm not even sure. It's quite bad, and I'm not sure. But yeah, he didn't want to sign something, and then there were some problems between Albanians and Kosovo and Serbians and Kosovo, and that led to NATO bombing, which was scary.
I bet.
Yeah.
And now you're in Paris.
Now I'm in Paris, yeah.
Where I understand there's some rioting going on in Paris these days.
Oh my God, yeah. Yesterday was like, it was actually my street, so I couldn't sleep until it took like a long time. They were like just going back and forth through my street, and yeah, it's not ideal in that regard. Seems like it's not gonna calm down very soon either. So it's like I'm following all the messy things around. Things like, but yeah, it's they're protesting because of retirement age, which was moved from 62 to 64, even though like most of the world is at 67 already. But I guess yeah, they don't want to work when they're 64, which is fine. So yeah, they're protesting now. I mean, to be honest, like young generations actually enjoy it. They're like, "Oh, tonight we're partying, we're going out and protesting with everyone." So yeah, it's.
How have you? How's your bridge? How's your bridge in Paris? Like, how long have you been there? What kind of bridge community do you have there?
So I know most of the good players here, but there is not like that live, like strong club game as in New York, for example. Like most of the very good players wouldn't go to club. They would play like national divisions and stuff. And there is like a problem there regarding you need to have French rating in order to play in like top divisions. And so given that I didn't play in France before, I could enter only like division 4 probably. Like you need to like jump from division to division. And that takes 1 year to like go up one division. So I try to like, as a junior and blah, 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 to like convince them to play in division 3, but like they just wouldn't let me. Which is similar in like, it was quite funny because my very good friend and partner for Strasbourg, he didn't play in US for 2 years, and then he wanted to play platinum pairs. And they were like, well, you don't have enough platinum points to play platinum pairs.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is ridiculous. The whole system is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, coming from a French person, you know, we're like, I can't play for the 3rd division. He's like, yeah, that's a fair argument. But yeah, so I played a couple of club games with him, and I played mixed teams with amazing player and very nice partner, Frederick Walker. So those like couple of club games and the mixed teams.
So the division thing, how long does that last? Like, how long does it? You said it takes a year to get to the next division. Like, what do you have to do to get to the next division?
Yeah, so you play I think like 3 or 4 weekends, and then like first 5 go to the division up, and the last 5 from the division go to division down, like below, something like that. I'm like, don't take what I say for granted.
Is it team events?
That one's teams, but there is teams as well. Yeah, there is like, they have actually a lot of tournaments and a lot of divisions. I think they also have like 100 and something thousand players, so like registered ones. So like they are quite big. They have like I would say when I Googled like a bridge club in Paris, there were like 7 or 8 like open on that day. Like that something was going on. They're either classes or I don't know, tournaments, or sometimes like just I don't know, a bit weaker tournaments that not everyone can enter, and like a lot of things in general in Paris.
Because I looked up your bridge base playing record and it said you hadn't played on bridge base in the last month either.
You see, I always say Jana does that, and I say it's creepy. Like, don't you think it's creepy? Like, entering, I'm like, I want to play on BBO. I'm like, I don't have a fake account. She does. And she sometimes goes and she plays from fake account. And I'm like, I want to play from fake account sometimes. So, like, because I want to play something stupid and dumb with like 10% of my brain power. So, like, nobody can check, like, how many very stupid mistakes are made. I don't know. Do you go to Bridge Base online and always play seriously? Like, do you not wish
Well,
to like just play randomly like 10 seconds per board thing? And
before I answer that question, let me defend myself. I am interviewing you for my podcast. Like, it's not creepy to like go on Bridge Base
true.
and
Okay.
see, like, I'm trying to get a sense of your bridge playing. I've gone to your ACBL live. You've played 40 events in the ACBL.
Wow.
You were eligible for the platinum pairs. You did about as well in the platinum pairs as I did. And yeah, so how are you getting, like, you have a ton of posts on bridge winners, like bidding problems particularly. Like, how are you getting, how are you, like, you love bridge, but you also have a job, which you're trading rates. So like, you were in New Orleans for, I think, all 10 days. So,
Yeah.
and then you're going back to Serbia in a couple of weeks for the festival that you help organize. Like, how do you juggle bridge and work?
Yeah, I think that's the. You didn't ask me how do I like Paris. So if you ask me how do I like Paris, I would say I don't like it at all. But I'm here for 45 days of vacation, which you get if you work in JP Morgan in Paris, which is crazy, right? I mean, it's quite a crazy number, but it's something with the law and stuff. So that's why I'm here basically, so I can do like 3 nationals a year, and then European or World Championship, and then 1 festival, and then possibly a week of skiing. So that all fits in. So I was like, okay, Paris is fine. So that's regarding tournaments.
That's amazing. 45 days of
I
vacation.
know.
Wow.
I know. Nobody speaks English.
Wow. Like
like you can't do anything here, but you get 45 days of vacation.
Wow.
Yeah. What was the question? Yes. Regarding the Bridge Base online. Yeah, before like maybe a year ago, I was like addicted to challenges and stuff. Like I would play probably like 150 boards a day. And then whenever I'm stressed and when I was studying, I would play like 5 times 10 more just to like get anger out of myself. And then I would end up usually more angry after the whole session of 10 boards. But I just find it very counterproductive. So I don't do that anymore. I opened, I don't know if I've played board and like even challenge or anything similar on Bridge Base Online for months. I opened it to watch some Ugraph, but like I haven't played much. I do a lot on Qubits. So the bidding app, you're probably familiar with it, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually I've seen you there. Now I remember, yeah. That I do probably like 3 hours a day or so.
What?
On the yeah.
3 hours a day on Qubits. Who are you bidding with? You're playing the mixed teams in Strasbourg with this French fellow. So you're probably bidding with him. No. Giovanna?
I'm bidding
Not even Giovanna.
No, I'm bidding with Giovanna. I'm bidding with her probably more than with anyone else. I'm bidding with Mikael sometimes.
Mikael Rimstedt?
Yes, he introduced me to the app because it's coming from the Swedish community. So
yeah,
I'm sometimes bidding with him. I'm bidding with Zatorsky sometimes. A friend from Croatia that is younger than me but played for Open Team, and is a very good player. I play with Steve sometimes. I bid sometimes with some other juniors from my team. Not that often, because I usually like to be bidding with a better than myself. or with my partner. I'm very selfish, yeah. And now since recently with some other players as well. Yeah. It's
so
like
Steve is your American. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You actually what?
Yeah, I'm saying.
What were you gonna say?
Since recently, I'm bidding with some other friends that I met. I mean, actually, like many people don't even know about the app. So when I show them the app, they're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And then before they bring their regular partners in, and before they like get like completely hooked up on the app, they try bidding with me, and I'm like, "Yes, we keep this going." So yeah.
Michael Rimstead actually introduced me to it too. To Cubids, we did one of those like daily challenges together in Arizona right before the tournament. We were out there to play some golf. So Steve is your American sponsor.
Yeah.
How did you guys get hooked up?
I played. So I was in New York for a month last summer doing some training with company and stuff. So Providence, just like a couple of hours from New York, and this tournament, this training finished just before Providence. So I actually planned to play. You know that I actually planned to play the pairs with Mikhail, and then I told him I can't play that because I have some exams and stuff on just on Friday of the tournament. So I arrived on Sunday, and I just arrived there, didn't have any plans, any agreements on anything for the whole week. But I was like, it's my first national. Even if I just sit next to like Zia and watch, which I did on Sunday, I arrived like at 1 p.m. or so. I just sat next to Zia and I took my chair and I was just like dragging it around, following Zia and like looking at what he's doing. I'm like, I'm still a happy person. But then I played. So I went to like find a pick a partner, even though everyone was like, "Don't do that. It's gonna be terrible. Don't do that. Don't do that ever." So eventually I did it on Monday because I was like, "Okay, let's play something." So, like everyone was golfing that day, and I went on Monday. I found a pick a partner, and we won the first session of regional. And the guy played something like. He didn't know what support double is, but like by the way, he's a decent card player. Like very decent. I was like a couple of times he played something. I was like, wow. But like bidding was like diamond, a heart, and he beat one spade with 4 cards. And I was like, okay. And then the bidding was diamond, the heart, and he beat double with 4 cards. And I was like, I just wanted to ask like, how, like, what's the difference? And he's like, well, double is showing clubs and spades because, like, it's a takeout of other 2 suits. And 1 spade is only spades. And I was like, okay, I see, like, bidding is not going to be a big one here. But it was fun.
You didn't try to fix him. You didn't try to change his mind about his bidding. You just sort of you just wanted to know what you needed to know.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
Wanted to know what to expect.
Yeah, it's just about managing expectations and in general, which I know some other people do with me as well. They are like, oh, do we play this? And then, they try to figure out where to land their expectations. But yeah, I played one board against Steve, and it was like some 3-note trump, and I end played him, and he just doesn't like being end played. He was like very angry. And then there was some time left after the tournament and after the match, and he asked me where I'm from, and I said I'm from Serbia, and he was like, "Oh, I love Novak Djokovic," and my partner said he doesn't like Novak Djokovic, and I was like, "Well, next time I'm playing with you because you like Novak Djokovic." And then, funnily enough, after the tournament, we started talking, and yeah, that's how we started playing together.
It was amusing to me looking through your ACBL live that you played. Like the first event that you played in the ACBL was the Monday Open pairs that you're talking about. And then I saw you played in the Tuesday Top Flight pairs. It's like you come all the way from, but it's cool that it sounds like your work sets up a lot for a bridge, like you happen to do a training program that ended right before the NABC, and then you've got 45 days of a vacation.
Yeah. So to
It
be
sounds,
honest, Jan and I did plan to come to that NABC in Providence, but then I didn't know when the training is gonna end or not, and we just said let's just go to Phoenix instead. So this
mm,
just lined up nicely, but we were planning this for like
mm,
some time already. So
mm.
yeah, in that regard.
What was your expectation for the nationals, and then versus what the reality was?
In terms of like the field or the or everything, just in
Just
general.
whatever comes to mind.
Well, I would say like I definitely heard a lot about it already. So I would say I was pretty confident about what I'm gonna find when I arrive. It's like sometimes it's a tougher field than I expect. Sometimes it's less tough than I expect. Sometimes like I didn't know what to expect regarding American community that I haven't met, and like sometimes I am surprised regarding definitely regarding style. For example, it's very conservative compared to Europe. Like in US, opening two spades is relatively serious. In Europe, opening three spades is not serious at all. So like style wise, it's much more conservative, less conventions, more natural kind of bidding and style. I would say also less of like psyching, less of like you kind of know what you expect at a table.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of tournament, I think I think it's amazing that like people are very open to play with each other. Like you go to a dinner and then you go to drinks afterwards, and people are like, "Hey, are you playing tomorrow? We can play together."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really like that. It's not like, oh, I come with my partner and I'm playing all of this, and it's like always there is a room to like play with other people, and like I enjoy playing with like with different people because you just learn so much.
Yeah.
Like whenever you play with someone else, like be it on your level, slightly below, or of course above your level, you just learn so much, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think in my experience, at least playing, I haven't played that many festivals in Europe, but in playing the European Championships, it seems like whenever I've played in that, the format like sort of dictates that I already have a partner for most of the events. Whereas in the U.S., if you get knocked out of an event sooner or later, the team events are the main events, but then you have the pairs and what have you. And so there's a lot more sort of fungibility in the schedule in terms of like what event am I even going to be playing in? And then that, you end up being able to potentially play with different people.
Yes, yes, which is I find it amazing, and I mean I have that. Let's say I'm fortunate enough to be woman, so like there is a mixed event. I'm likely to find someone better than myself, usually, and
Mm,
that's very good because like I do learn most on mixed events, and even when I started playing bridge, I think like compared to some other juniors that are possibly equally talented, more or less, than me, I had like a faster track because I'm a female, and then some male people in Serbia needed mixed partner, and so I had like my first mixed partner was basically a very good open player from Serbia. So yeah.
when I tell people, that there's a women's event that are not bridge players, a lot of times people will say there's still women's events. Like people think that it's sort of archaic that there's women's events still. What's your experience with like talking to
I
people about that?
100% agree with them, to be honest. But on the other hand, I do I do. On the other hand, I see the reason to keep them there. But yeah, so one thing I'm talking to Joanna quite often about is well, she knows my view for years now, is like I just don't want to play women's event anymore, and that's actually something Michael Rosenberg mentioned in the book, where he was like, you play as a woman, you play women's events, which against players that are weaker, and then therefore you are weaker because you don't get enough of like time to play against stronger players. So like the whole field keeps staying lower compared to like rest of the field, just because you're like, in order to like play better than Serbians, you need to like leave Serbia, and like in order to go to Bermuda Bowl, you need to play against and listen to people that are actually playing there. So like it's the same in women's event. Like you just need to like get out of that zone in a way, and like I don't think I can play women's event and like win women's event and for years and years, and then one day I go to European tournament and I actually play fine, not even like win against like Brink and Drever, but just play fine against them, like not lose a bunch. Like I don't think that's possible, like because they play against I don't know, people from Netherlands, and they learn from them and they are getting used to that kind of field, and it's just different bridge. You just can't, like I had, even in this NABC, like I had so many hands where like I would never ever beat that kind of thing in a open event. Never. And then I'm just like, yeah, it's like 2 diamonds past that, and I have 12 count with ace 10 9 of diamonds, and I'm like, yeah, that's a 2-0 trump. It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad. But
how did that one work out?
Amazing. We got a top. She raised the 2-0 trump. I had Jack 3rd in diamonds.
You were like, we kind of joked about it in New Orleans, like you were excited to win the women's event, but did you feel like what did it feel like to win it?
Well, I like the way I talked to Johan about it. We won it because of her. So she really wanted to play it and she wanted to win it. And before the event, we agreed we are not going to play that event together if we win it. But yeah, for me, it's a bit of a lose-lose situation. It's like, if I don't win the event, I feel terrible because like I feel like I should have won the event. But if I win the event, it's not like I'd rather be 7th on the Silodor pairs, which were like there at the same time. I'd rather be like, relatively competitive to top pairs in Silodor than just winning women's event. So, and truth be told, we had like so many bad boards as well. And like, how do you feel winning the event and knowing how many bad boards you had? And we each had like at least 3 bad boards in a 52 board session. Like it was like 52 boards that day, and we each had like 3 bad boards. It's like you can't really be extremely happy having like 3 terrible boards in a day. So I would say it was nice, and people were congratulating us, and in that regard, it was nice. But I'm really looking forward more to like playing some tougher events and hopefully being up there.
What's your schedule for the summer nationals then? In that case, you gonna play the spin gold?
We will, yes. So we convinced Steve to play spin gold, so we will play 5-handed. And I don't think that's gonna go too well, given that like we're probably gonna get the worst seeding ever. Given that like we
Who's
have
your team?
like, so it's Luke and Barry from Netherlands, which are a very good pair, but European, so they don't have many points either. And then me, Jovan, and Steve. So Jovan and me are probably gonna play the
Giovanna's the 5th.
Yes. We're probably going to play the pairs, 2 of us, unless something better pops up. And then if we drop out...
You and Giovanna are going to play the pairs at the start of the tournament.
Yeah, and we still don't have anything for Swiss, so we're going to...
Because you'll still be in the spin gold.
Yeah, that would be very nice. But I already see like seeding playing the... Well, listen, I'm even happy to have bad seeding here because like that's a win-win thing, like opposite of lose-lose. Because like you play like Levin Weinstein, and if you lose, like nobody expected you to win. If you win, like you're a god, or like something magical happens.
For that day.
Yeah.
For that day, you're a god.
So yeah, I definitely rather be in a win-win situation.
What's the what's your experience of like the culture of professional bridge in the United States? I mean, it's not, I'm sure you don't have much, if any, professionalism in Serbia. I mean, in France, I think there's probably more, but
not sure in like which way you mean, but like in general, I see like nice things and not so nice things about it. And I see like it's also interesting looking at it from different perspective. And coming from Europe, where I think level of bridge in Europe is quite decent. And then there are not so many professional players. And then in US, like level of bridge is very decent, yes, but Europeans are, if you look at the last Bermuda Bowls and last big events, like it's a lot of Europeans winning them, not Americans. And like in US, like there are so many professionals playing bridge, and some of them are like, I honestly just don't think they're that good. And like I get very surprised when someone tells me, oh, that person, because like I know so many Europeans that are like better than myself that never played bridge professionally, and then like I go to US and there are like so many professional players that like just don't play bridge that well. Let's put it that way. So
had you played professionally before? Had you played professionally before you got to the US?
Yeah, so we played some events in Europe. Like I played online with Mike Rippey. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
He has a Polish team, usually in the main events. So I played with him when I was doing my bachelor in Novi Sad. And we played online a lot. And we played, I don't know, like Turkish mixed teams, and then Italian ladies championship and stuff like that. But not much in general. Like not even not even close to the same extent as in US. It's definitely like different level and different expectations, and like a lot of decent players as well. It's like even in France there are like a lot of very good players, decent level.
So was Michael coaching you up on like the whole like being a pro thing?
Yeah, he definitely did a bit. He was. It's quite funny that you ask that. No, he was at some point he was like a bit nervous, and I was like, "Are you really nervous?" Because like he's like, "No." I'm like, "I know you're gonna be like nice, and I know you're gonna be like, but just please show on time." Because like I just never show up on time. He's like, "Just please show up on time, and just like please do this or that." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But yeah. No, he did.
You have a problem with punctuality?
Oh my gosh, it's just I'm just the worst. Like I just need people to get used to that, because like I just can't change. It's like I gave up on changing that habit. I mean, you usually see that. Like I'm always like the last one in the queue for coffee, and then like I'm running towards the venue. Oh, it's very bad.
No, I haven't noticed that. So like so how did you do like with the with showing up on time? Like it's not, you still, even with Michael, saying please do it, you're still struggling to get through the door.
No chance. No chance. It's like it's the same with the flights and everything. It's just same all the time. It's so now for New Orleans. So Julian's my partner for Strasbourg, and he was taking the same flight, and I got a message in the morning. He was like, "So I'm at the airport. Where are you?" And I was like, "Here." And the airport is like more than an hour away, and they're protesting. So like it's like metros are not working, so you need to take Uber, and it was terrible actually. So he had to like beg the guy at the gate to keep everything open, and I'm coming and I'm running.
Wow.
And yeah, it was bad.
And you made it.
It wasn't first time. Yeah, I made it.
What time do you think, how much before the flight do you think you actually arrived at the airport, like set foot out of your Uber at the airport?
So I usually plan to arrive like, if I don't have baggage, I plan to arrive like 35 minutes before the flight. If I have
Okay.
baggage, then 45 because I need to like, I mean, they kind of close the baggage thing, but like you can ask
At
them
45.
nicely. They usually, well, not usually, it never actually happened to me. There's like, I missed one flight, but okay, this we actually need to cut because of my parents. Because I'm always saying I had never missed a flight. You can't tell me anything.
No, we're not cutting that. Normally I cut
No.
everything, but I'm not cutting. I'm not cutting
No,
this. Your
you will
parents,
have two
this.
different two viewers less. Come on. Maybe 10, because I can't send it to my aunt either.
Oh my God. You can't know. Come on. Please. This is the best part.
You just
Do your parents play bridge?
No, not at all. None.
Wow.
Yeah, it's well, it wasn't that hot. Like nobody in Serbia even knows what bridge is. But my parents play a lot of card games, like random card games. So like I started playing cards when I was like 5, probably 4. But just like random card games. But like for weekends I would go to my grandparents' place sometimes, and I would play it for hours and hours and hours. So I was like so addicted to card games. Like when I wrote my first essay on, the title was My Grandfather, and like half of the essay was about card games that I play with my grandfather, and not about my grandfather at all. So, yeah. When did you start playing bridge?
I was 18 years old, and I was a freshman at university, and I came home for winter break, and my grandfather had died. And so my aunt was staying with us, and we were going to play another card game, which I love, still love, called Hearts. And I was explaining the rules for it to her, and she said, "This is stupid. We should be playing bridge." And so, like, that was the first time. And then the first 5 years, like, the only times I played bridge were just when I was home with my parents. And then my sister had some friends who needed a fourth for class. And yeah, so I loved it immediately. Like, I bought books, but I didn't realize that there was other outlets for it. I lived in New York City, really close to Honors, which is like the main club there, like 2 blocks away probably, after I graduated from university, and it didn't even occur to me
Yeah.
to look for playing bridge.
Do you think you missed out there, or like if you could go back in time, do you think you would go now, or you think it's like a lot of time and you wouldn't be able to do other things and stuff?
Oh no, I would definitely go. Like, I played a ton of backgammon with my one of my best friends. Lived with one of my best friends, and we would play backgammon all the time. And so I had like a job some of the time I lived there, but other times I didn't have a job. And so like when he had a girlfriend and he had a job, and so when he was like available to play backgammon for the night, I was so excited. Like, we would play for money, and I was better than he was. So if like absolutely, I would have been there if I had just thought to like Google bridge. I would have been in honors every day. I'm sure I would have been there. I mean, maybe I wouldn't have had the professional career that I had, but I mean, I missed out on the juniors. I didn't play my first national until 2012, and I learned to play bridge in 1994. So
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I think in that regard, I was quite lucky actually, because so when I was 17, I went to like a special math high school, and when I was 17, our linear algebra professor, and he's also a university professor, he played bridge, and linear algebra was our toughest course in a year. So I think some of the students were like, "Oh, we are gonna start playing bridge so we can, be good at that and then get good marks in linear algebra. And then we just joined the course, and funnily enough, 8 of us joined, which is perfect. It's like a team match. So we started playing bridge, and immediately we started having team matches every break and like playing games all the time. It's like we had the probability class. We convinced our professor, this is good because like we are going to understand probability like better and like all of that, and just play bridge all the time. I think that's if you honestly ask me, I think that's the way to go. Like just build a big community, and like when people start playing with each other, and like I mean you love the game and you played with like your parents and grandmother, but like imagine actually playing with your friends and like meeting up.
Oh,
with
I
them.
know.
It's class.
I know.
It's
I mean,
like
I know. That would be amazing. Like we played spades in college some, but which is similar to bridge, but not as good. But it didn't even occur to me to try and teach them like how to play. And yeah.
And now, if you could go back, you would definitely teach them. I see it on your face.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I loved playing spades. Like
Yeah.
I was so happy when we would get a spades game going.
I just don't know. Like so I studied in Switzerland, and when I joined university, I was like, I need something to do, and I had to stop bridge actually. So I stopped bridge for 2 years because it was too much. It was like ETH, where I studied, is like one of the 3 best universities in Europe. It's like level of best universities in US, and like it's always top 10 in all of the ratings and everything. And I just did terribly. Like I was like, so I'm gonna do the exam session, but like in between 2 exams, I'm gonna go to Lisbon and play mixed teams championship, and then go to Italy play women's championships. Doesn't work. Like, and especially you have to train for that tournament because like it's a European mixed teams championship. Like you can't just go there.
Right.
So like I ended up having a terrible semester at uni and terrible tournament in Lisbon. So it's just like the worst thing ever. So I just stopped bridge for 2 years, and I had to do something. So I organized Board Game Society, which was happening on Wednesday evenings. And we just started playing all the board games. And like they all knew I'm a bridge player, but like it was like, yeah, we play Settlers of Catan and whatever, and Codenames and Avalon. And then at some point they were like, okay, like COVID started, and they were like, okay, now is the time to like meet up online and you teach us bridge. And then I was like, okay. So my flatmate, he was a bridge player. He was my ex-partner, and we just don't speak about bridge ever since like we stopped playing together. It's the only way to stay friends. Let's put it that way. So he joined me. He's very good like in teaching and like transferring knowledge, and we tried to teach them and they loved it. But like not having a bridge club and not having like a proper way to like continue working on that, it's like you can't do anything there. Like you need a proper setup and a proper like structure to go through, and then like take it from there. So I don't know. I'm a bit pessimistic about like that way. Like I just show like I love them. We are still friends, and they love the game, and it's still nothing's going on there. It's just too
You mean
complicated.
they're not really playing?
No, they stopped. Like after a couple of months, we just went back to Codenames and stuff. So I mean, I don't know. So my flatmate was Stefan. Stefan tried to talk to university, to try to like combine something, add extracurricular activities in terms of bridge and stuff, but it's just tough. Not easy.
You think Codenames is a good game?
I love it. Yeah. I mean, but I'm not like, you can't actually ask me because like I love every single game. Like it's so hard to find a game which I don't like. But like I prefer Catan, for example. Catan is like, there is some trading involved, and some strategy in that. Like, it's not that much. You depend less on people around you. So I'm like, if I don't win, it's kind of a bit of luck and me being bad. Whereas in Codenames,
Have you played Catan?
I've played a lot of Catan.
Have you played Catan with Zach Grosek?
No, why?
Oh, because
Is he very competitive?
so Bronya Jenkins, well, he's very competitive, yes. But Bronya Jenkins just got named as the new executive director of the ACBL.
I've seen that, yeah.
And in the post on Bridgewinners, Zach commented how excited he was that she got the job, but also made like a joke about not doing. I've never played Settlers of Catan, but she made a joke. He made a joke about like not allowing any of her trades in Settlers of Catan as like like one of the job things.
No, you need to play that. You need to play that game. That I'm being serious. It's actually very good.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a level of luck, but it's like very social. And then on top of that, like it's like bunch of different skills which you need. And I mean, I'm extremely competitive. I'm terrible in terms of like competitiveness. I ended up not speaking to some people like for some number of days after the game. It's very bad. But yeah, you need to correct that. We need to actually next time. You're coming to Strasbourg, right?
Yeah, but I can't come. I can't come for the mix because my sister's having a wedding party on June 3rd, and the tournament I think the mix starts on the 3rd.
Yeah.
So I could potentially come for the mixed pairs, but I don't have a partner, and I don't know. I'm actually skipping my 25th college reunion to go to the Open. I'm playing in the Open, but probably not playing the mixed pairs.
Yeah. So you're skipping your college reunion. I think Jovan is also skipping. If that makes you feel better to play Strasbourg. No, but like I can actually, because I'm staying, I think, day or two after. So I'm going to actually bring the game. And then if you have time, we need to play it. We're going to take Zach as well.
How long does it take to learn?
Oh, no, you learn like immediately. There are not many rules.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's a bit of math involved, but like not too much. You just roll the dices and then you get some like resources, and then you either build cities or you build roads and stuff like that. It's like a bit of like deciding what you're gonna build, and a bit of like deciding who you're gonna trade with, which resources for what, and stuff like that. No, it's very good. Have you played any other?
What was it like? Sorry.
No. It's like I think I'm a bit after you in this podcast in terms of like 5 seconds late coming to you. Know, I was wanted to ask, do you play other board games? Like Codenames, did you play?
I've played Codenames. I own Codenames. I played it like 3 times, maybe twice. There's a game called The Mind. Have you ever heard of The Mind?
No.
The Mind is a great game. So it's super simple. So there's a deck of 100 cards, and the cards are numbered 1 through 100. So there's 1 card for 1 card for 100, 97, whatever. And you can play. It suggests 2 to 4 players. So what you do is you shuffle the cards up, and then you each take a card. And your goal, it's a cooperative game. So your goal is to turn your cards over in order. So if you have card number 1, you're like put it on the table. If you have card number 100, you're never put, and so then once you do 1, then you do 2, and then you go up to 12. The goal is to do 12. That's like sort of winning the game. And then you do it blind. So like really winning the game is being able to do 12 in the blind, which I've only gotten to blind mind once, but that's a game that I learned like right before COVID. So there's this guy, Amresh. Have you met Amresh Deshpande? He invented Hool.
No.
So he came to Charlottesville where I live and for like a gaming tournament to sort of show people Hool. And I would go pick him up at the tournament, and he goes, "There's this game you got to play. Like, I found the most amazing game." And so I just loved it immediately. Like, it's so cool. Like, it's very similar to bridge, like in terms of reading the
Yeah.
tempo. And so it's like sometimes, you're starting out and you each have 3 cards, and somebody's got like number 3, and they take a long time to play 3, and you're just like, you should have played that, obviously if I had 1, I would have played it. If I had 2, I would have just about played it. Like 3, you can almost play it. So it's kind of funny, why didn't you play that faster? What took you so long? Or like, why are you trying to play 15 so fast? It is great. I love that game. Like I will bring a version to Strasbourg for sure, because it's just like, it's so easy, and bridge players, I think, particularly will love it.
How many cards do you deal to each player?
So you start with 1, and then once you get that, you do 2, and then once you get that, you do 3. So you like reset the deal. Like
if you played how many cards at the beginning do you get, and how many I get?
1. We each get 1. So the first round is very easy. I've got 15, you've got 60. You're like, no, you can't talk, but you, you sort of, so you're like, and then, I put 15 down, and you're like, okay. So the first round's easy, but then, you're getting up to like 9, 10, 11 cards. The most cards you have is 12.
Yeah.
So that's the game that I like the most. That's not like a card game currently.
Yeah. No, I just actually like different. Well, I would definitely like that game, because like I just like. Well, it sounds interesting in terms of like cooperation. But like there is game called Avalon, and it's like Mafia or Werewolves. If you played any of that, Werewolves is quite popular. Where you like close your eyes, and like everyone else closes their eyes, and then someone is like, now the black guys or the bad guys open their eyes, and then they try to like kick someone out from the game or kill someone in a way. And then after the game, there is like a convincing stage where everyone is trying to like convince other people that like that guy's bad and that guy's good. So it's like a lot of like reading of people, but like you also need to like involve like how other people voted in the previous like rounds of the game. Would they do that if they actually were doing this and having this card and whatever? So it's like a lot of long memory kind of thing in your head, and then also like reading people in terms of like their poker faces and their how they're moving and how they're acting. And it's like some people are always silent when they're bad, and some are always silent when they're bored when they're good, and stuff like that. So it's very interesting in that regard.